Back again, another emoji live stream broadcast podcast testing or whatever that is. So basically, I'm in the unintentional free time, which is supposed to be not that long, but I think it should be enough for me to create some content, I guess, because probably still around half an hour, and I basically try to start as soon as possible, even though I'm still trying to do some mandatory things that I basically need to do first as an exchange if the previous mandatory activities is not correct yet, especially when I basically just do some bad behavior perhaps after not try to do that for several weeks, I guess, which supposed to be a whole month later. But for some reason I just don't know what kind of things that I basically wanted to do that can make me satisfied, even though the satisfaction is definitely only temporary, and eventually I basically not feel very good after doing those kind of things. But at least I basically try to do a good behavior as well after that, as usual. Even I'm not sure whether I basically have enough motivation to do a good behavior recording that I haven't been done for a while. Because I basically wanted to finish the pre-recorded emoji as well, despite I basically wanted to bought another new microphone perhaps, which basically act as an exchange to my customer service headset that already broken for the microphone. I don't know why, and I don't know whether it can be fixed or not, but at least the audio output still works perfectly. I do have another headphone actually that I basically never tried to unbox. Maybe already have the same age like the Apple Watch that I basically tried to sell last week, and I think it's supposed to be works perfectly, thankfully. Because it's basically pretty cheap either if I basically try to see some sort of second-hand things that basically not have really have really big differences in terms of the price. And having an old stock is definitely a very good bargain, although it may seems to be not going well on your expectation in the beginning. But it's definitely still a brand new inbox that I basically bought 3 times more expensive more than 8 years ago, which is pretty crazy. I always hope that the price can go up, but for some reason it's never really, I don't know, noticed perhaps by some popular content creator that wanted to create content like this, unboxing new stuff for 8 years ago. I do still have several, 2 more actually, which is the iPad and the Apple TV. But the Apple TV should be still works, I guess, because there's definitely no battery, and hopefully the iPad is also works perfectly, because obviously the battery on the iPad is definitely much bigger than the Apple Watch, so it's supposed to be longer, I guess, although it's definitely need to be charged. And it's at the beginning that I probably will try to unbox it. Although it's definitely feel pretty sad. 8 years for not using it, and I eventually tried to sell it in a very cheap price, but consider that there used to be so many people that interest with this thing, but never really have a chance to probably meet in person for some reason. I don't know why. So the customer that basically have the destiny to interest with my product is always be from quite far place. So that's the reason why I always try to wait until I finally get the perfect customer. So yeah, it's kind of like a giveaway, but I definitely not try to record that as well, because for some reason the actual transaction is not as smooth as or even convenient as I thought, because yeah, there's a lot of smoke smell that I basically not really like, because yeah, passive smoking is definitely much worse than active smoking. So yeah, I basically can only be grateful for that, because yeah, for some reason it's basically pretty rare compares to the iPad customer that basically less than the Apple Watch. Maybe because the Apple Watch is basically pretty cheap and it's probably already in the cheapest point, where the second hand is also cannot be decreased anymore, I guess, unless it was in a pretty bad condition. So if you talk about new condition, it's definitely already pretty cheap, because you basically cannot get the same Apple Watch in the new condition in the same price, I guess. Although yeah, if you talk about the cheapest old stock that's probably available, that's definitely newer as well. It's not that expensive, because yeah, there's definitely a lot of old stock that was not sold. Maybe because Apple Watch is pretty segmented, I guess. So it's not like a phone that's pretty hard, or any other devices that's basically pretty hard. That's basically pretty easy to be sell if they basically willing to reduce the price a little bit. Even for the old stock that I basically dream of, which is the not kind of like in a brand new condition, but maybe an X display. I don't know whether it is actually good or not, but I used to wanted to bought those kind of MacBook in the past, which basically still have a slot in DVD drive, which is pretty cool. I never really experienced with those things unless the old PowerBook or MacBook or even iBook that sadly no longer works. And also the iMac, which definitely have a slot in as well, but I don't know. I basically still not try to utilize it as well, because yeah, I don't know. I'm just don't have enough time and motivation to watch a movie unless it was from the television, the cable TV, that sadly no longer have a promotion that I can basically enjoy it for free. Maybe because the provider from the cable TV is already bought from another company that's basically wanted to be as profit as possible. I don't know why, but or maybe they basically try to do another type of promotion, because obviously if we try to end the subscription, they basically will try to give us some good bargain for the promotion, especially when it's only related to opening channels on the cable TV, which supposed to be already exists. If I basically try to pay the same amount of money in the past. So yeah, inflation is not always, it's not only make your money no longer valuable, but also make the subscription increase a lot, which is pretty annoying. So the only thing that you can do is obviously try to make more money in order to basically have more money to pay your subscription. But or yeah, if you're basically willing to sacrifice your subscription, then yeah, it's basically okay as well if you wanted to change into another subscription, because they're definitely a cheaper option for the subscription is will remains exist for the new provider. But yeah, in terms of the stability is definitely different, so that's the reason why for some reason I'm still trying to use the same provider that probably already very old, even older than the time that I basically tried to create a content for the first time, which is already more than 15 years, I guess. So that's how crazy the provider is already last, even though yeah, they eventually try to sell it into another specific company that basically focus on this kind of business, instead of yeah, they basically focus on first kind of business, which eventually not really good, because yeah, they basically sacrifice. If a company had a lot of business, they basically need to sacrifice their focus on a certain business, although it should be the one that maybe they can do better. But since they basically need to focus on another business that they are not really good at, then yeah, the one that they supposed to be good at is not turning well. Yeah, even though yeah, that can be some mismanagement and misexpectation as well, because yeah, this company is basically built a big city outside the capital, outside the ex-capital perhaps of this country, and yeah, it turns out people is not really wanted to do another new city that basically really act as an independent city, because yeah, people still eventually try to work in the central business district, which basically located far away from those outskirts perhaps. I don't know what's the correct word to describe this, but yeah, that's all of the unnecessary things that I basically have talked about for 30 minutes. I don't know whether it is actually easy to be understand or it is pretty confusing, because it's my sound maybe not as clear as many other podcaster, and yeah, I don't know why the screen sharing is actually freezing. I think I basically need to stop this stream, so I think